I'm here for Elements of Madness. This is Lindsey Dunn, and today I am here with the director and two of the cast members from the movie Slashback, which will be showing during South by Southwest 2022. With me today, we have the director, Nyla Innuksuk, Tasiana Shirley, who plays Maika, and Nalajoss Ellsworth, who plays Uki. Welcome to all of you today. Thank you for joining me to talk about your film.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Nyla, let's start with you. I watched the movie, but I always like to hear the director's elevator pitch instead of trying to summarize in my words. So what is it about? What is Slashback about? How would you describe it to somebody?
Yeah, Slashback is about a group of teenage girls from a remote Arctic community who take on an alien invasion.
I love it. Brief, to the point.
Thanks, putting me on the spot there.
What made you want to tell the story?
I grew up loving movies that were scary and kids adventure movies like The Goonies and E.T. and being in Nunavut as a kid. It is such a beautiful place and a great place to be a kid having adventures with your friends. And so I always thought it would be a great place to make a movie like this. And certainly aliens have always kind of been a fascination of mine. So it was really fun to have it all come together.
Well, Pang is a real place. Why did you choose this location? And are you from there, or what's your connection to the place?
Yeah, I myself am not from there. My sister-in-law, Julie, her family is from there, and my nephews are from Pang. I visited before I'd even met her, before my nephews were born, to shoot a documentary about Inuit square dancing. It was a documentary that I produced with the National Film Board of Canada, and it was there are these pockets of Nunavut that or communities in the Arctic where the tradition of square dancing was brought in from the whalers in the 1800s, and so it's considered Inuit tradition. And Pang is one of those places. It also happens to be one of the most beautiful places on the planet. And in the summertime, there's 11 days where the sun just never sets. It kind of circles around the horizon. And so that's kind of when I was trying to think of places for an alien invasion movie, it was those fjords in Pang, which are really kind of stand out from the rest of the Arctic landscape, some of the other communities.
It's sort of isolated, maybe the perfect place to invade if you're gonna start out and find some place where you can put your hooks in. Tasiana, you play Maika, who is kind of the de facto leader of this group of friends. How would you describe this character? If it was a friend of yours instead of a character you were playing, how would you describe Maika to somebody else that's never met her before?
Well, actually, Maika, I do see a lot of similarities between Maika and myself. I feel like we're both kind of sort of like the leader or the dominant one in the friend group, the one who plans everything out and ties the rest of the friend group together. She's very, like I said, she's very direct and dominant and sort of has no filter. She's in the beginning of the movie, she's very ashamed about who she is, about her culture and her family and her identity as an Inuk. And she's during the duration of the movie, it's really a journey you can see of Maika learning to embrace and love herself and her identity. So she's a growing individual, and I would like to be friends with her if she was an actual person.
So do you think do you think Maika wants to be the leader? Is that the role that she chose to occupy, or do you think people put her in that role?
Well, it is, in my opinion, it is like a matter of both factors. She's very, you can see she's very confident in herself as a person, and doesn't really like when other people take over her job or try to do things better than her. In that way, she's very confident, but also, like with her home life, she's an older sister, and she's often seen taking care of her little brothers, and you can see that a lot of responsibility is placed on her. So it is a matter of her wanting to be in the position of dominance, but also it was a responsibility to her as well.
Okay, so Nalajoss, I'd put the same question to you now, playing the other sort of dominant character, who's, I'm probably pronouncing all these names wrong, but Uki, or how do you say her name, and tell us about this character?
I would say it was like a hard cue, like okay, but I would say that she doesn't really like to listen to other people. She's kind of very like, I'm not going to do what you say. Like, I'm not going to do that. But I think she's very like, she speaks of her mind. I don't know. But I never thought about that question before, but I would say that she doesn't want to listen to anybody. She speaks her mind. And I don't know.
Do you think you're like Uki?
I don't think I'm very like her at all. She does some risks that I would never ever do. I think the only thing that we share is our opinions, and we have a lot of them. So yeah.
Yeah, I noticed in the movie there's a lot of rivalry between these two characters. Where do you think that comes from?
I think both of them just want to have like their own way, and they're kind of frustrated with each other that they can't have their own way, or like they want something different that the other person does.
Is that how you see it too, Tasiana?
Yeah, totally. They're both very both Uki and Maika are very confident in themselves, and they're also very stubborn. They both have their own way, and they both like to express their opinions and like sort of plans differently. So it really clashes between the movie, but in the end it really just strengthens their friendship.
Yeah, the other two friends are more, they kind of go along with what Maika does, and Uki doesn't do that, so it's interesting to see you guys butting heads. It's definitely one of the more enjoyable parts of the movie. Nyla, you could have told an alien invasion story with adults, but instead you chose teen girls. Why did you go that direction?
I think it for a couple of reasons. One was that I really love the kids movies that I grew up watching, Goonies and E.T. and Jurassic Park, and so I was really excited to do something that was targeted at a younger audience, but was really, really fun and a little bit scary. And so the reason I kind of decided on teenage girls was I once was one, and I remember it being a complicated time, and also a really special time where your friendships are kind of the most important thing to you, and you're trying to figure out who you are. And for Indigenous women, it's also an added layer of processing some shame that you might have in your indigeneity, and figuring out how to be prideful. And so I think that certainly when I was developing the script in its the kind of the script as we came to know it with my co-writer Ryan Cavan. We were at that point had already shot a proof of concept with some of the actors, and so when we went up to Nunavut, we were really exploring these ideas of the alien invasion through the eyes of teenage girls now. And what is, you know, of course, not surprising is these teenage girls, all they wanted to talk about was their friendships and boys, and where they kind of like fit in within those friend groups and that sort of thing. So those dynamics we just knew would have to be a part of the movie, because even in the middle of an alien invasion, those things find a way to, you know, get in the way anyway.
Mm-hmm. How did you go about finding the right cast?
It was this it kind of a great process of we knew that we couldn't. I knew that a traditional audition process wasn't going to work, just because there weren't casting agencies in Nunavut. There were some. There's this great show produced by Nalajoss's mother, Kanuli, that was fantastic. And so actually having support of our Nunavut producers, Stacy and Delethea, was great. Also the arts organization Kagyavut as a physical space for us to hold the workshops, because we kind of held the auditions as acting workshops rather than auditions. And so we had people, the young girls come in, and I worked with Christine Tutu, who's an actor, a theater actor who's got television and film experience. And she ended up working in our prop department and was with us in Pang. And so in those first couple of days with Christine, we were workshopping some pages of the script, and I was, you know, moving the girls around and trying them out. But it was really treated like an acting workshop. And then at the end, there was some casting done for this proof of concept. And then with that proof of concept, I went out and started, that's where I found my producing team and eventually my co-writer, and yeah, and then we started doing the casting in earnest. And it was, by that point, Nalajoss had aged out of the youngest character role. And so I was worried about her not being able to act in the movie, thinking that she wasn't old enough to act alongside the teenage cast. And it was actually really heartbreaking. And then and when I met Tasiana, I knew she hadn't been a part of our proof of concept, but I knew right away that she had to be in the film. She was so naturally gifted, and but I assumed that she actually was initially cast as Nalajoss's character, because I thought that would be the hardest role to play, the Uki character. So I actually thought, okay, Tasiana is the strongest actor we've seen, and so I think she has to play this role. And then it was just this, at one point, we just made this decision, like, oh my gosh, what if Nalajoss, maybe we should have her come in one more time. And this was the day before we were supposed to be flying out to film the movie. Let's have Nalajoss come in one more time and read. And we, Melissa Hood, who was our acting coach and who had spent some summers living in Pang and was a really great resource for us. We had Nalajoss kind of do some stuff for us on camera. We had a conversation, and we're like, I think she can handle this. And so we did some shifting. Had Tasiana. We were like, okay, you have to learn a whole new role now and take on this new challenging role of Maika. Nalajoss, you've got a week to learn this script, and it was it was a kind of very dramatic, but in the end, it was really wonderful that we were able to figure it out.
Wow, it sounds like everything fell into place just when you needed it to. Tasiana and Nalajoss, in your roles, you had to shoot firearms and defend yourself from evil predators. I'm curious, is this the type of acting you're used to, or what did you have to do to prepare for these roles?
I think we already knew like most of the stuff that we already do in there because I did because my dada also like takes me out hunting. We go on hunting trips together. I've shot a rifle before. I already like kind of knew. We didn't actually like shoot it. We just like looked in the scope and like just and then that's it. But I think yeah, I already knew most of the stuff. I never had to learn anything on set, I don't think.
So you're used to like cutting an animal's throat, you know, that kind of stuff you go about around doing quite often.
Yeah. No, and I mean, when we were even shooting our proof of concept, I was looking to Alexis when she was slicing up, she had to slice open a seal and even just the girls, the way you prepare food, the braiding of the intestines, which is very delicious. And it's just, you know, this, so much what I think was wonderful about the process and was that the girls were able to share a lot of what they knew with some of the crew that weren't from Nunavut. And so they were doing a lot of sharing and a lot of that lent itself to the film in so many ways.
Tasiana, is that the same deal for you? You're a skilled hunter already?
No, actually, well, I had never acted in any other film before this, so I had no experience with like props and you know, the whole situation with the weapons and the different guns. But I know I personally don't usually go out hunting a lot, so it was a new experience for me with the actual rifle that I was seen in a couple scenes with. But the props department did a really good job in, you know, showing me how to use it correctly and safely and just making it look as real as possible on camera. It wasn't an operating rifle. It was, I believe it was brought from an antique shop that it was not operatable. So it was all safe, and it was a really a great learning experience for me.
Thank you for explaining that. Yeah, I mean, I've only had one experience where I shot firearms, and it was super awkward. It was much more awkward for me than you see it on TV and it looks so easy, and then when you go to pick it up, this feels completely unnatural to me. So I appreciate you sharing that with me. Nyla, I understand it was quite a process getting to film here, and you are the first to ever film at this location. Can you tell us about that process?
It was, I think there have been some shoots before, nothing, not a narrative feature, I think, like this, but the community of Pang is wonderful in that it's filled with artists. There are really amazing artists throughout the community. There's a textile museum and space for creating woven textiles and also printmaking. So it was really kind of wonderful to kind of be in this place and try, and essentially we had a welcome tea, and we're saying we need a lot of help from everybody. Like, if you can sew, if you can drive, if you can drive a boat, if we need your help. And so people just came to the youth center, and we all were like introducing ourselves. But it was a really great process to kind of be immersed with the community. And I remember one of our drivers, Jonah, telling us that if there was beluga that showed up, that he'd be driving us that day. He would be out on his boat. And then one day, you know, pretty deep into filming, sure enough, beluga show up, and he told us that it was the first time he was ever not going to go out, that he was sending his son out instead on his own. and that he wanted to be there driving with us. And so it was, you know, really special to feel like we were, you know, that we had the community behind us.
So I just have one question for you guys. It's a would you rather. So would you rather have to defend your home from aliens or zombies?
Aliens.
You think?
Why is that?
Yeah. Zombies are so scary. Oh my gosh. I would never want to deal with a zombie. I know they want to kill me, but aliens, what if they want to like team up or whatever? I don't know.
All right. What do you think, Tasiana?
I'd have to disagree with Nalajoss. I would rather fight zombies rather than aliens. I feel like aliens with the whole you know, unexpected, you don't know a thing about them. I feel like it could totally escalate. They could, like, you know, they could probably do crazy things that you don't even know about because and I just feel like with zombies, you know, they're already dead. Just
Yeah, the enemy, you know, we know what zombies are. We don't know what aliens are.
All right. What do you think, Nyla?
Yeah, I'm with Tasiana on that.
Before we go, do any of you have social media channels you want to promote where people can continue to follow your work?
You can follow Slashback Film at Slashback Film on Instagram, and we're going to be updating when we're going to be in Texas, and I think that's going to probably be the best way to find out what we're up to.
Okay, great. I will have that in the show notes and the YouTube channel so that people can follow you. Slashback will be showing at South by Southwest from March 13th to the 17th, including an online screening. So good luck to all of you, and thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
And this has been Lindsay for Elements of Madness. Goodbye, everybody.